It's a great honor and a privilege to introduce Chaim Maltz. We're here in Yerushalayim. Chaim.
My name is Chaim Maltz. I was born in Sokol, Poland, which is right now the Ukraine, in 1936, February 26, which it was yesterday, was my birthday.
Mazel tov.
Toda rabah. The Germans came into our hometown in September 1st of 39. 3-year-old I was then. And in 1941, they started a ghetto in our town. Our town was a community of 6,000 Jews. Most were killed. There's only 30 remained. 15 were with us. We were 13 in the attic, and there was actually 16, 3 in the cellar. And we met them when we were liberated by the Russians in July 19th, 1944. I basically was from 42 to 44 hidden in the attic. Prior to that, we were in the ghetto. Now, my dad was a businessman in Poland in the cattle business. So he had acquaintances in the business world all over. He asked those people if they could save him. They all refused. So in 1936, he and his father were riding in a horse and buggy, and this lady was standing with packages on the road. They asked her if they can give her a ride. And with the packages, they put her on the wagon, and after that, they took her home. A relationship developed. That lady was Francesca Halamayova, and she's the one that saved our whole family.
Wow.
From that experience. And we spent there November of 42 till July 44, hidden in the attic. Then the Russians came in. We were hidden at number 4 street of the lady, and that was on the Bug River. The Bug River separates the Germans from the Russians during the war, but then the Germans defeated the Russians at that point. So we were all in hiding. I lost my whole childhood. When I came out in 44, I was 8 years old. No schooling prior to that, no childhood, no play, nothing. I just had nothing. And we came to DP camps in Abelsburg. We started to have a little schooling. Palestinian Jews came in, and they were our teachers. So I learned how to daven Nusach Ivrit, whatever other few things I learned. In 1949, in January, we came to the United States. That's when I started my schooling.
Chaim, can I just ask you, going back to as a little boy before the war, do you remember anything before the war about...
Very little, very little.
Did you have siblings?
I had a sister born in 41 who was taken away and murdered. She was 14 months old.
And your family, did you come from a religious family?
They were modern Orthodox. They were not Haredi.
But traditional.
Traditional, yeah, but we were, you know, at the show. My mother's family was more
And
religious.
can I ask, when the war started, do you remember? What do you remember from when the war started, or do you remember? Do you have any recollections?
I have some recollections in the ghetto. There was a 2-block area that they put to a couple of thousand Jews in. I remember that, and after that, we fortunately escaped.
And do you remember this lady? Do you remember?
Oh yeah, Francesca Hamayev and her daughter Helena.
And who,
They were honored at Yad Vashem.
who from your family went to her attic?
My family, my mother, my father, my uncle, 3 of my aunts, and there was another family my uncle brought up was Dr. Kindler and his 2 children and his wife.
And you were the only child?
No, there was 3 of us. I was the oldest of the children.
You were the oldest.
My cousin is the one that they tried to poison, was 3 years younger. And then there was Dr. Kindle's youngest son, Eli, was also 3 years younger. He lives in Israel now in Herzliya.
And there was enough room in her house for you all
Well,
to live?
the whole area
It wasn't
for the 15 people was an attic.
above
It was the size of this. That's it.
A small, like a pigsty, really.
Yeah, we were over a pigsty. The reason for the pigsty was she could buy food for the pigs. Actually, she bought food to feed us. And we ate everything non-kosher
But you survived.
to survive. As a matter of fact, when I went to one publishing house with my book, the guy asked me if we ate kosher. I said no, he wouldn't publish it.
Oi. So can I just ask, you now in the barn, the pigsty really, do you have recollections from that barn? You must remember.
Well, all I know is I was in a corner, covered up. There was straw and there was sheets on top, and I kept quiet because I have a habit when I get into a mood, I just close myself off, and that's what saved me.
So what did you do during the day? Or did your parents...
Once in a while I played chess with my father. Very good. My father used to sit next to the holes in the attic so he can get some light, and he was writing these little pieces of paper. And we'd get food periodically from Mrs. Holomayeva. She'd bring it up. One time we had an accident with waste dropped on her head when we put it down. And that was about it. 20 months.
And did she have her own family? Was she married?
She had one daughter and a son. And the son was killed by the Nazis because he brought wood to us, and he brought foods and stuff, and the Nazis discovered him and shot him. The daughter remained. Her grandchildren, that's the daughter's children, live in the United States and in Connecticut.
So she endangered, by saving your family, she endangered her own family, and her son paid the price.
At the end of our stay, she also saved a German deserter. The Russians found out and they were looking for her. They were going to arrest her. So she escaped deep into Poland. And that's where she died, in Poland.
She must have been a very incredible lady.
Oh, she was, we call her the angel.
But because your father and your grandfather did a chesed, they gave her a lift.
But my grandfather was sick when the Nazis came into our area, and they grabbed my sister, 14 months old, and my grandfather, who was sick at the time, He was 63 years old, and they took him to the gas chambers in Belzec. That was where the gas chambers were.
Was this when you were in the ghetto?
Yes, when we were together. Nachon.
And they took your sister?
Yep.
How did your parents handle
And my
it?
mother had to, it was not easy. Then she had another child in 1946. That's my brother.
And the other one in the attic.
And she had a child in the attic?
In the attic.
She gave birth in the attic?
Yeah. And the child was strangled. Child cried. The little boy.
The doctor did it. He happened to be an obstetrician. And
Wait, the doctor was also hiding?
Yeah, with us. And the doctor
Wait.
had poison on him, and he was trying to poison my little cousin, but she spit it out.
Why did he want to poison her?
Because she kept crying. She wouldn't stop crying.
And they were
we had to
nervous that-
protect the other people, otherwise
What a
the
decision.
neighbors were worse than the Gestapo. They found out we were there, we're dead.
Because I think they would give in a reward if they would hand in...
Not only a ward, but the Gestapo would do a number on us. So we had to keep quiet, and
Wow.
that's my cousin that's involved deeply in the States now and talking about our experience.
And can I ask, did you ever see sunlight during this time?
No,
So for all these
20
months...
months,
you-
no sunlight, nothing.
And what did your mother tell you stories, or could she whisper to you?
My mother was, she did her best. When we had extra bread, she would steal slices of bread for me. And I was the luckiest guy in the world to have parents. On the attic. Unfortunately, my mother got a stroke when she was 78 years old. She lived till 84. It was a miserable life. And my father died at the age of 90.
but they did make a life for themselves
Yes.
in America. They were happy with
And
it.
can I ask, the lady that saved you, this angel, did her daughter and her son come and visit you in the attic?
The son, I never remember, but he came. He never came in the attic to see us. The daughter did come in the attic to see us.
But they knew that the mother...
They knew.
And they approved that the mother
The
was...
daughter's husband was an anti-Semite. And
He didn't know.
we tried to keep away from him, and he shouldn't find out. So we were lucky he didn't find
He
out.
never found out all...
No.
Imagine. And she was married. The daughter was married.
Married?
And she never, obviously,
Children.
she never
Married
told...
during that time.
Yeah.
During the war, she got married to
And he was anti-Semite, the husband.
Yeah.
Wow. This is unbelievable. But the daughter, do you remember the daughter?
Yes, sure.
And she was
Helen.
a good lady?
Very nice. Very good.
She used to entertain Russian,
German.
German soldiers
cover-
in her house
cover.
to cover it up.
To
The
cover
house
it
was
up.
about how many meters away from the
Bug.
barn? It was like a half a block.
It's near that Bug River. The Bug is the major river. Goes through our town, Sokol.
And Chaim, when you went back when they made the documentary, does the barn still exist?
Yeah.
Everything,
Everything
exactly as
is-
it was. You have to see the
And
movie.
I must just ask you, how did you feel? I know it was hard for you to go back to well, it's now Ukraine, but to go back, it must have been very traumatic for you
Well-
to go back.
You've heard of Lemberg, didn't you? Lemberg was 90 kilometers north of our town of Sokol. And it changed its name. In that period, that whole area, different countries took over, they give it different names. Under the Russians, it was Lvov. Now the Ukrainians have it's called Lviv. So we stayed there in a fancy hotel, the Opera House, while we were making the
Documentary.
documentary, right?
But when you saw the barn, did all these memories come back, flooding back?
Yeah, yeah.
You have to see, it's all in the
Okay,
movie.
I know,
It's
yeah.
documented, you have
Wow.
Show them the picture that I made when I climbed into the attic. Show them that. Let's take it off.
It's here, I think.
Yeah, in there.
And Chaim, what is it today? Is it still a barn?
Yes, exactly the way
Exactly.
it was.
They didn't change it.
And you used to play chess, and when
With
you
my
went back,
father, once in a while.
you took the chess set with you after you were liberated?
I gave it to my son. Now this is, we took a photo and I
You couldn't
painted
stand
it.
up straight in it.
If you can put, if
I
you could hold
painted
the.
it.
So you painted this picture.
Yeah. After we took the photo.
We weren't allowed, I wasn't allowed with him the first few days of filming. Only the people, the survivors were with the film crew. And then we went.
And can I just ask you, what other memories do you have from the barn? Did you have any when it came to Pesach or
No.
Rosh Hashanah?
Christmas you had good.
Christmas I had good. Non-Jewish holidays. My father knew the holidays. Somehow he knew, but we
did you
never
do the
said
candy?
You couldn't,
nothing.
and you couldn't light candles or that.
No,
It
nothing.
was a matter of survival.
Exactly.
So the doctor who was part of your group had actually poisoned in order to poison.
He brought poison up. At one point, the Germans were putting in radar near us on all the roofs. They were going to come to us. Somehow something happened. If they came, caught it, we were all ready to take that poison and commit suicide. Because we did not want to go in German hands.
And okay, Chaim, I'm going to ask you something very difficult. When the doctor unfortunately had to strangle your brother, that must have been like a horrendous. It's unimaginable how difficult that must have been.
I didn't realize the gravity of the situation. I was a young kid then.
How did your parents handle that?
That's it. My mother's the one.
It
But
can
she
destroy.
tried.
It can destroy one permanently. It
Exactly.
can scar you for life.
Exactly. She lost 2 children, a son and a daughter. This young lady, when I married her, almost 60 years ago, became the daughter she lost.
She lost. Wow. And okay, so can I just ask you, what you remember of your daily routine in the barn? Did you have a
Not
routine?
really much. Nah, we just sat around. I was
Could
in a
you
little
stand up?
corner.
Were you able
Yeah,
to
I
stand
bent over and you couldn't talk. When I came out of the attic, I just whispered. I couldn't talk.
The whole time you could,
Nah,
day and night, it made no
day and
difference.
night made no difference.
And did you watch? Could you go to the little opening and look outside what was happening?
Rarely. My father sat there most of the time, writing. Rarely. One time I remember I saw kids playing outside. It was sunny, and I had to be in the attic.
And did you ever ask your parents, why are we here? You were a little boy. Wasn't it strange why you couldn't go outside?
We were just trying to survive. I didn't go into philosophical talks, anything. I just tried to survive, that's all.
And you knew you were Jewish, and that's why, and the Germans were.
Exactly. And in America, later on, I went to pharmacy school. I didn't have much of a background, and I became a pharmacist and practiced for a good number of
If
years.
I might say something, he came to
Wanna go
America.
into the video?
No, you don't have to do. He came to America in 1949. He was almost 13 years old, and he didn't know a word of English. And they gave him some kind of test. My mother-in-law told me this, and where to. You want this on here?
Yeah, sure.
Where to place him in school, and he couldn't read the test, so they informed his parents that he wasn't capable of doing any learning because he scored so poorly. So, but as it
They
happened,
had these IQ tests.
yeah. But as it happened, he couldn't read it. He picked up the language very fast, and from 13 until almost 18, he did 4 years of high school, all the math and all the science, and he got into Rutgers University, and never had any lower grade education. I can't believe how bright he is, and that he was able to succeed in that way.
It's a miracle. It really is.
It is a miracle. And
The biggest miracle that I have discussed to live in Yerushalayim, Yer Kodesh. That was my dream, and that's where I live.
Herb, Chaim, can I ask you, after the day you were liberated, how old were you then? Roughly
44, 8.
8. Now, do you remember that day when you?
Yes, definitely.
What happened on that day?
The Russians, we knew they were firing over the Book River, and we heard it.
You must have been so excited.
I could hardly walk. I bent over and hardly talk. And then eventually I came to myself.
So can I ask, when you were liberated, and the lady, the angel, the woman who was helping you, she must have come in and said, "You're free now," or what do you recall from that day?
She did.
but it wasn't good.
And we tried to make a life in our hometown.
You went back to your hometown.
Yes, we were in our hometown.
You were
Just
the
went
same.
to our house. But it was impossible. The Russians were very bad. So my father, after 1 year, decided we've had it. And we went to Poland, near Krakow, and after that, we managed to go to Hungary and then to Austria. And in Austria, we wound up in a DP camp, Abelsberg.
And you have a picture. Can you show us the picture? This is a picture of you in the DP camp.
DP camp, and that's my little brother. He was born in, this is picture was taken in 47. 3 years after I was about 11 then. And my brother and my cousin, the one that they poisoned.
They tried to poison.
Yeah.
And can I just ask, the day that you were liberated, and you go out and you see the sun. Now you hadn't seen the sun for.
I could hardly. I was all bent over, and I could hardly talk because we weren't allowed to talk loud, just whisper.
And could you look at? I'm sure they warned you not to look at the sun. It's from not seeing the sun for so many months.
It was an adjustment.
They all suffered from, they weren't healthy when they left
Yeah,
the
I can
attic.
imagine.
They suffered from whatever.
TB, we caught that.
And how was your feeling that day when you felt that you no more had to be in the attic? And you're free, and there's
I'll tell you the truth, I didn't even think about it. I was just out there, I was in the air, fresh air. I just tried to absorb that. That's when I saw outside these kids play, and I was hidden in the attic. So now I'm outside, I was trying to absorb nature.
wow. And then did you go straight to your home?
Yeah.
And had anybody taken over the home during the war?
Imagine, yes. Next, we were next to a post office,
My father said it was a post office.
and my father found 15 Sefer Torahs there.
In the post office?
Yeah, the Germans would use to make for saddles for horses.
From the Sifrei Torahs?
Yeah,
But he saved a lot.
he saved them and sent them all to Eretz Yisrael.
Really?
Yeah,
Where are they now?
I have no
And
idea.
can I ask, and in your home, did you go straight into your home, or was somebody else occupying your home?
We went into a home.
There was no one there?
No, the Germans used it as a warehouse.
Oh, okay.
Our home was near the post office.
But you
So-
couldn't stay there?
No, it was impossible. Russians were not that good.
And the town people, your neighbors that your parents and your your family had lived generations. and
They
generations.
were more dangerous than Gestapo.
Then the Poles and now the
Exactly. They found out. As a matter of fact, my cousin dropped a metal pot, made noise. One of the neighbors said, "We know you're up there." So in order for him not to expose us, we sent Dr. Kindler, who was the physician there, and he was a prominent man in the community, and he spoke to him, so he got him to agree to keep quiet.
Because he saved somebody in their family or something.
Yeah.
That's one thing.
And after, when you were liberated now, the
Then we went to the DP camps.
but
From the D camps in 48, at the end of 48, beginning of 49, we went to
can I
America.
ask, what do you remember in the DP camp?
I told you the Palestinian Jews came around.
But
Taught us to daven and-
how was your living conditions in the DP
It wasn't
camp?
bad, it was army barracks.
And you were
German
given,
army barracks.
you were given good
Food,
food.
yeah, it was, from what I remember, it was good.
Compared to what they had before.
And you had a brother who was born in the DP camp.
He was born in Braunau in the same hospital that Hitler, Yamach Shemo, was born,
Sure, this is in Austria.
in Austria. Braunau am Inn.
And how long were you in the DP camp?
We were in DP camps almost 3 years.
And I just want to ask you, before you went to the DP camp, you went to Krakow.
No, near Krakow, not actually.
And do you remember being there, or do you remember?
Not really. I don't remember that.
And going to Hungary, do you recall anything?
We went through woods, and there was border patrols, and we just luckily made it. My mother carried me on her back.
Sure, this is incredible.
Yeah.
And in the DP camps in Austria, who was really looking after you there?
I had my parents.
I know, but was it the American soldiers? Or?
The Americans, it was a United Brit, Americans, French, but we were in the American section.
And you were well treated?
Yeah. Came to America, and you needed a sponsor, so my father had an uncle who was a sponsor. He got us an apartment with the help of Hayes, and we went to that apartment, set us up a little. My father and my uncle both worked as cleaning escalators in the department stores in the city of Newark. And a week after we got there, my father's uncle came with his son-in-law. He says to me, "Young man, what's your name?" I said, "Chaim." He said, "My name is Chaim too, but they call me Herbert here." That's how I got my name.
And Chaim, can I just ask, when your father was in the attic, you said he looked through the openings and he was writing.
That's where he was sitting.
And
his area was there.
And what did he wrote a diary?
Yes.
And can you show us it was published into a book that you published?
Yeah, that's the book.
Wait.
Just
And he wrote it in Yiddish.
in Yiddish. These pieces of paper. He rewrote it.
This is your
in
father at the back of the
That's
book.
my father, yes. He rewrote it in Yiddish, and then we had to translate it. This is my uncle, who I dedicated a book to, Shmuel Schmelke. He was really responsible. He brought us food. He came in like a half year after we came in there.
He was a young man.
He was a young man. He got beaten up terribly at the railroad station, and this book was dedicated to him.
He worked with the Germans at
Yeah.
the railroad station, so he had some information, and he passed letters to somebody that knew Mrs. Halamayava and into the attic, and it was
Let me
very
see what I
to
have
let them
there.
know what was going on. It wasn't an easy time. I mean, I've lived with this for almost 60
Dedicated
years,
to
so I know.
Shmuel Schmelke.
That's the dedication.
That's my uncle.
And the name of the book?
The name of the book is Years of Horror,
Glimpse of hope.
Glimpse of Hope.
Oh, can just show it. And the cover. Wow. And who drew the artwork for the book? It's very.
Publisher.
I don't remember.
From
The publisher probably.
It's amazing. And how did the lady who saved you? How was she awarded Chasidei Motalam, Rightous Gentile?
We took her in 84? In 84. There's a tree for
She
her.
wasn't
and
alive. It was her daughter and her granddaughters that we took to Poland. Not her daughter had died already at that time too. It was the granddaughters that.
and a grandson.
And
Who?
She has one grandson.
Yeah, but he
and two-
wasn't in Yad Vashem with us. Only the two girls were.
Yeah.
and in Yad Vashem they were given Chasidei Motalam,
Yes.
and there was a tree planted
That's
in memory.
correct. Matter of fact, I have to go
We
and.
should go and see.
Yeah, I want
haven't
to see
been there
what's
in a
going
while.
on. Yeah,
And
we'll
do you
go.
have a picture of her in the book?
Yeah,
There are
sure.
a few
If
pictures.
you could show a picture, because it's because of her, and it's because of doing chesed, because of giving her a lift with her packages.
Not so many Polish people would do it. Would save
Well,
you.
it was a very difficult thing.
This is my father, my mother, and
If
me.
you could lift up a little bit. So this is
And
a
my
picture
brother.
of your father, your mother.
And my
You and your
little
brother.
brother. Yeah.
Wow.
I think her pictures are towards the front of the book, isn't it? More the family pictures in the back of the book. So, you want me to find it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And it must have been a very moving experience when Yad Vashem gave Chasidei Motalam, right?
I wasn't there. My daughter was
Your
there.
daughter was there.
Oh,
We were not
But it
there.
was very fitting.
right there?
Judy was there. That's it.
That's right.
Yeah.
See, there's-
But it was like Karasatov, gratitude for. Yeah. And are you in touch with any part of the family?
Not really. Maybe my daughter is in touch with the granddaughters. I am not.
They, your cousin.
My cousin is. And then in America, I saw high school, went to
If you can-
college,
if you can show that.
and
We're
thank
just going to
God.
show a picture. Chaim, 1 minute. We're going to just. This is the lady, and what was? How do you pronounce her name?
Haramayova.
A real tzedekah, a real
Yeah,
righteous Gentile, somebody who put her own family at risk, and her son was killed.
Franziska Haramayova.
Her son lost his life because he was saving Jews.
She's supporting us. That's from.
And was she bitter about that? Did she ever?
I don't remember. Maybe she told my father. I never heard.
But she, after that happened, she never said, "It's too
Nothing.
dangerous. I'm worried that my daughter will be killed or I'll be killed."
She probably did. She probably did. But my father and my uncle kept it to themselves and to talk to her. I don't
How
remember.
many people would say they would do it? They said
How
this in
many?
a movie.
Yeah,
and
how
in the
many?
movie.
How many people would
Would endanger
endanger
their
their own
family.
families in order to save
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
stranger? Strangers, really.
That's right. And then after America, after school, I was fortunate to meet this young lady who was 3 weeks short of 18.
And Ken and Hora, how many years are you both married?
Gonna be 60.
Wow.
We have 4 children. I was telling you, my
wonderful.
son a periodontist, and 3 daughters, 20 grandchildren, and 5 great grandchildren.
Well, Baruch Hashem. And what happened to your brother?
My brother lives in the States. He's also a pharmacist. He followed me. He owns the biggest independent pharmacy in Brooklyn, New York.
Really? Wow. So
He's got 6 children. 2 of his daughters and 2 of his sons are pharmacists. Their wives are pharmacists.
Sure.
It's
It's a really pharmacy family. And
And I started it all.
Chaim, I'd like to ask you, I mean, you went through like a Gehenna. You went through a hell, being cooped up in a barn, in a pigsty really. And you wear a yarmulke, you learn every day. were you always, and your family, did they retain the faith through this very difficult ordeal, having?
Well, I almost gave it up at the end of my pharmacy school, but my mother was a very strong woman. And she had influence on me where I decided to keep everything, and that's the result.
And your parents remained religious?
Yeah.
Even after all they had gone through?
Everything.
They never questioned Hashem or what happened to them?
3 of my 4 kids are religious. 16 of my 20 grandkids are religious.
Wow.
4 are not.
Okay, well, it's
I've
all
had-
relative.
Yeah, but they're fighting in the Israeli army.
Yeah, I've had
Yeah,
8 of
and
my
it's a big thing.
soldiers.
Wow.
1 is a Tzanchen, 2 was Sayeret, 1 Sayeret Golani, who's on active duty still, 1 Sayeret Tankim.
You must be very proud.
Very proud.
Wow.
And my last one is a Doveret Sahal. It's a girl.
So I would like to ask you, when you were coming out of that barn and when you were in the DP camp, and did you ever envisage one day that you'd be in your own country, free, that your grandchildren would be fighting for Am Yisrael, for the Jewish people in its
I
own
see
country?
pictures now on Facebook where they showed Holocaust survivors 4, and then they showed 4 Chayalim. And I, who was a kid almost killed, I have 8 Chayalim.
It's amazing.
When you see the movie, you'll see that they interviewed a few historians from Yad Vashem or Hebrew University, and one historian said that this family's, the Maltz family's, chance of survival was less than 5%.
Wow.
Because they were surrounded not by the Germans, but by the Poles, who were very quick, as you said, to reward people.
Were bad news.
They would get their rewards, a few bottles of liquor and a little bit of money, and they were looking to find. So their chance of survival were very, very little. How many remained after the war from the town of 6,000? 30
remained.
30 remained, 6,000 were killed.
And most of those remained was from our hiding place and partisans. Like 10, 12 were partisans.
Well, I must just mention, there was the Ulmer family, a family of 7 that did help Jews and save Jews, and they were informed on, and the whole family were killed.
Sure.
They were taken by they were informed by their Polish neighbors, and they were all killed. The mother, the father, and
that is it. That's
so
the
what
reason
this
we
lady
were
did
scared.
for you and your family, and what her daughter did, and her son, it is something absolutely remarkable.
That's my uncle always used to call them malachim.
Angels.
Malach.
Angels.
Angels.
Where do you live now?
So I'm just going to, I mean, back again, but I just want to thank you so much. I'm going to.
You want to take a picture
Chaim,
of that?
I just want to, if, Jackie, we can bring the picture. I just want to thank you so much for giving me,
Pleasure.
for hearing your story, for being part of listening to history.
You going to take a picture of that?
For sure. But I just want to thank you, and I just want to wish you and your wife at Mayvestrim in good health, happiness, mazel and bracha.
Same to you.
And it's so good to see you smiling and happy, and
Very
that
happy.
you are so grateful.
He's living his dream.
You're living your dream. And a little boy who was hidden in the attic is now you like
A great grandfather.
Not only a great
Great-grandfather.
grandfather, and you have a family, and you really have succeeded, and you are somebody we can all emulate, strive to emulate.
Thank you.
We are so grateful, and you should just have mazel and bracha and
You
holy
do the
happiness.
same to
And
you.
good health, and very good health.
That-
At
well,
Mayvestrim.
I mean, I still work out. I do
Where do you
push-up
live?
plank.
may I ask? You live in Biflagon. if, and I'm doing this without Chaim's permission, because we have very few copies of the movie, but if we give you a copy of the movie, would you make sure to get it back to us?
Sure, absolutely. If we can just show the picture.
And you can watch it in your house.
Okay, yeah, sure.
On your,
So
whatever.
can we see what the movie looks like? And your daughter was very instrumental in producing. Wow, she must be a very
But you'll
talented.
see what Chaim said to you, and you'll see the, which one?
And Chaim, you besides from being a pharmacist, you learn every day, but you're also an artist.
It's my hobby.
And you did this painting.
Here, she's on the picture.
And
But you must get it back to us.
And then, wow, this is a painting that you did
A few days
of
ago.
Kozak.
2 weeks ago.
Wow, that's amazing. And this is the
movie.
The movie, if you can just hold, and I'll. And this is the lady who.
Yeah, that's Franziska Holomayova.
And this has been shown in
all over the world.
All over the world.
Australia, South Africa,
Germany.
In South Africa as well.
It's with
Poland,
subtitles.
yeah.
Wow. Well, I want to thank you so much, and it's
You're
been
welcome.
the greatest honor and privilege to be in your home and to hear your remarkable
Take some
story.
chocolates.
Thank
like
you
some
so
water,
much.
tea,
No, thank you
coffee,
very
something.
much. You both are so kind.
Would you please